Hello, tubers. This is Pat Jordan coming to you from the Grain Ghetto in Illinois. If you are able to view my continuum video before arriving here, you will have the master template, of which this is 1/4 of the picture with regards to hypersensitivity reactions. Everyone knows allergy. Well, they think they do. Have you ever noticed that clinics across North America have departments of allergy and infectious diseases? I bet you never thought about that until now. Once you do your own work to find out that you can't stimulate eosinophils with IgE without opening up an entire can of immune system whoop-ass, then you realize that the allergy specialist is just jerking your chain, vaccinating you constantly, causing autoimmunity, and has just created a patient for life. Allergy shots? Vaccines? Have you ever read the label on them? Allergy shots have an antigen and are preserved with at least phenol. Ever read the label on a vaccine? Nothing is a cure if you have to keep coming back for the same thing. So our saga begins with allergy that can blossom into a pleasant case of anaphylaxis where you need injectable epinephrine just to be able to, what? You call that living? Little kids with life-threatening allergy to even the smell of peanuts just because a weapon with peanut oil as an adjuvant was deployed on an unsuspecting, ignorant population. Delayed hypersensitivity is such a deep and occulted subject that I have been trying to squeeze that fish for years, but it keeps slipping out of my hand. Because I have already taught you the concept of continuum, you'll find it curious that Richer, who gave us the phrase anaphylaxis, was working out his theory by studying delayed hypersensitivity. This demonstrates that you cannot separate out any of the supposed, quote, separate cause-effect relationships of the immune system as they teach in medical texts, because one can follow the other or they can exist at the same time. Serum sickness is where this bus stops because that was the topic of my first book. How did we get down this road? Did you know that kidney disease hit approximately 1 in 10,000 Midwesterners with the statistical accuracy of an anal CPA? Not quite as impressive as the autism stats that we are told will be 1 in 2 by 2020, but they're trying. To find out on your own how to make vaccine as a weapon, target an entire population like laboratory animals, and generate billion-dollar dialysis and kidney transplant industries around them, then go to my website, vaccinefraud.com, on the free PDF page to read the 1972 World Health Organization memos. That topic alone is a whole nother video. Now that you have kidney disease, think you haven't? You got a vaccine, didn't you? Let's find out that single thing that defines the methodology of the hard sciences. Mechanism of action. Why did you get kidney disease? When we consult the Merck Manual 16th edition 1992, that just happens to be 20 years after the World Health Organization announced their kidney weapons, we find that it says, quote, in bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, drug or serum-induced serum sickness, and some forms of renal disease, an IgE-mediated reaction is thought to precede the type 3 reaction. Isn't that the definition of what I described as continuum? Then they damn themselves with a quote that was the first thing that I found when I was studying my mother's glomerulonephritis. Quote, surprisingly, glomerulonephritis, so prominent in experimental serum sickness in animals, is rarely a problem. Yeah, and I got a fucking bridge to sell you. That was my very thought the day that I read that. Nothing is true until it has been officially denied by the government. You might think it strange that I would quote that when we're talking about Merck and medicine, but you see, if you have been paying attention since 1968, when Ferdinand Lundberg wrote his book The Rich and the Super Rich, the U.S. is nothing but a fascist state, corporate control. Merck is a corporation. Merck is the government. Medicine is the government. I was prompted to explain this to a list member, Morning Lark, to demonstrate the hierarchy on a ship as dictated by the law of the sea. A captain is the master of his ship. The crew live and die on his command. However, there is one authority higher than the captain, the ship's doctor. If the doctor determines that the captain is not fit to serve for any reason, then the captain can be relieved of his command. This is why you can't call into work sick and have your slave master take your word for it. The ship's doctor has to decide for you if you are fit for duty or not. The veterinary to the herd is what I call the World Health Organization. They decide that all the animals need to have their vaccine weapons, and all of the military might of the world is focused on making that so. Therefore, when I say that it is absolutely true that serum sickness causes glomerulonephritis kidney disease, and it was confirmed by the government in the form of the ship's doctor in the Merck Manual, 16th edition, 1992, by fraudulently and lethally lying about the relationship in an obscure one-sentence passage on page 344, then it is a death sentence on your life after having been vaccinated, and it is a death sentence for the crimes against humanity by the vaccinators. We are at war, whether they declared it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you choose to recognize it or not, whether you decide to do anything about it or not. As in the movie DOA, we have already been poisoned and our lives are on a countdown timer. The only thing left is to report the crime, bring the criminals to pay, and work on the antidote that supposedly does not exist. Get to work.